all hear me?
Yes, Sumit, you are audible.
Okay. Does anyone else can confirm whether you are still there? So today we are recording this session. So mostly I'll give a quick walkthrough of what we have discussed yesterday, so that those who have joined today, they will also get to know what we discussed and what are we are going to learn this using this particular training. Astik, Geetika, Arjita, can you confirm if you are able to listen to me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So let me share my screen and let me know once you're able to see my screen. I'm sharing Notepad right now. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So in this particular data science with AI curriculum, what we are going to learn is end-to-end development training, which will include following softwares. We are majorly focusing on the Microsoft stack. So the first product that we will be learning is SQL Server. Microsoft SQL Server is basically a database management system, which is provided by Microsoft. So in this particular database, yesterday we discussed SQL is the main language that we will going to learn. So in this, SQL is used in terms of Microsoft SQL Server as well. SQL is also used with Oracle as well. It is also used with MySQL as well. And there are some more different variations of SQL. So what we discussed yesterday is like SQL will be same in all the environments, but when we work with Microsoft SQL, it will be known as TSQL. When we work with any other platform, like if we work with Oracle, it will be known as PLSQL. If you work with PHP, then it will be a MySQL. So every organization has their proprietary version of SQL Server. So when we talk about SQL Server, it is specific to Microsoft, and we are going to learn only the product which is provided by Microsoft only. So we will understand what a database is, how database functions, what type of data we have, what is the correct way to store the data, and what is the incorrect way to identify, like what are the problematic areas which will cause performance issues. All those things we will learn in theory as well as in practical. So major part will be practical in this entire course. So Microsoft SQL Server will be a 2 months curriculum, which will be covered on every weekend. It will be 1 hour session on Saturday and Sunday, both. And we will try to record every time. So just in case if you are busy with something, if you are not able to attend anything, we will share you the recording so you can revisit it. So the purpose of recording is not to miss the class. If you regularly miss the class, we will not share you the recording. We will we'll try to see like if you are not comfortable with the timings, or we'll try to match your timings and give you another batch in that case. But if you are generally thinking of attending only the recording sessions, then this will not be the course for you. We need only live participants where I will be sharing some assignments along that. So you need to work on that as well. So, as we said, this is the first topic we will cover. Next topic once we cover, so this will be completion of one topic which includes the foundation level, which will cover end-to-end foundation training of Microsoft SQL. Then we will learn some advanced level, advanced SQL Server. In this we will learn different ways to write same query. So you will understand, like if a person who is like having 2-3 years of experience, how he writes same query. If a 10-15 year experienced person writes, what will be the difference when he writes. And we will also try to understand the practical aspects, why these two queries are returning the same result, but the first query is efficient or the second query is efficient. We'll try to see the practical things. Once we complete this particular advanced SQL Server training, then we will move to again, this will be the part of advanced thing, performance tuning. How to tune queries. Like right now, let's assume like we are right in this training, we are 6 participants. So similarly, when a new company gets started, they have less number of employees, they have less number of data. Gradually the things will increase and they will get, let's say right now there are 6, someday there will be 600 students as well. 600 is again a very small number. Someday there will be 6 million students. So to manage the data for 6 million customers, whether they are doing purchase on Flipkart or on Amazon, the same query that you write in the initial stages of your career will not work when your target audience or the customer base increases in millions. So you need to learn how to tune your queries. So we will see how we can increase the RAM, how we can increase the server or upgrade the hosting. Along with that, if we don't have budget to upgrade our hosting and upgrade the RAM, like RAM, adding RAM in your personal laptop is very easy. You can just buy a physical RAM and you're started. But if you are on the web, you have to pay for every single minute, every single second, and different hosting providers has a different plans. So it is not that much easy to purchase the RAM or upgrade to the server because it is very expensive. Instead of that, we will try to see whatever queries we are learning in the initial stages in the foundation level, we will try to rewrite those queries as part of performance tuning so that you will utilize the same set of server, same set of things, but you will write efficient queries. So this is all part of the database engine. So first part, foundation, will be covered in first 2 months. This second 2 things will be covered in the next 2 months. So 4 months will be here only. Next topic we will discuss is SQL Server integration services. So I think for few of the folks, I have already explained, like in some organization, they store data. Like for example, if we are we are working with Amazon. So Amazon has different type of data providers, or what we can say, different seller accounts are there. Some people are working from Bangalore, some people are working from Chennai, some people are working from a remote village. So everybody will be storing data in a different format. Some people will be storing in a notepad, whereas some people will store in Excel. Some people will already know SQL, so they will store in a Microsoft SQL server. Some people will store the data in Oracle. What we want here is like to get all the data in one place. So SQL Server provides a different tool, which is known as SSIS, which is a business intelligence tool, which allows us to integrate data from all our environments, from different environments, so that we consolidate the data into one space. And based on that, we can run our code and utilize this particular data and convert into a meaningful information. So that meaningful information means we can see in which region or which state our sales are high, where the number of customers are high, where the number of customers are regularly buying, where that people are taking more leaves. All such data can be converted into meaningful information. So this data will provide us, this topic will help us to integrate data from different sources. Then we will learn some parts of AI, artificial intelligence. In this, I will help you write your own blogs so that you can start your journey. When you apply for a job, company will ask for your portfolio. So you can have your own blogs, you can have your own website. We'll tell you how to host a website, how to take a domain name, everything end-to-end support will be provided. Along with that, whatever we learn in these two areas, Microsoft SQL Server, Foundation as well as Advanced. Whatever we learn in this particular two areas, Foundation as well as Advanced, we will try to learn, like nowadays what is happening is AI is taking over. So whatever manual work we do, whatever the things we are doing right now, moving forwards, everything will be done by AI only. That is artificial intelligence. So we will learn some tools like how to efficiently use ChatGPT. And there is Microsoft Copilot. So based on these things, based on these particular tools, we will learn how to manage your work very efficiently. The work that you are going to do in this foundation course, let's say I am giving you one task wherein you will be taking kind of, let's say, 8 hours to complete that work. That 8 hours work can be done utilizing these two tools in like 10 minutes only, but only if you know these tools. So we will teach you how to utilize these tools. We'll teach you the free version, also we'll teach you the paid version for both of these things. Once we cover these things, we'll go to Python. Python is a programming language which is now majorly used on like AI related things. So here we'll divide our curriculum into two parts, Python or C sharp. Those who want to get in the world of Microsoft, they will learn C sharp. Those who want to still work with the open source technology, they will learn Python. If you want to learn both, that is also an option. So by utilizing all these things, you will be able to work with data in a very professional way. So these are the basic things we will be covering in first 6 months. Once we cover 6 months, then there will be another module. So yesterday we had one demo class with few of the students. So, but right now I see like some more students have joined. So I will repeat whatever we have discussed. So the first thing that we are going to learn is Microsoft SQL Server, which is a database management system provided by Microsoft. So I'll give a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. So what we were trying to understand is the student database. Like I'm taking a very practical example. So in this particular class, we have some students with us. So we'll write like student names, student name. So here the first student is like Ashish, Pooja, Geetika, Arjita, Monica, and few more students are there. So these are the data we are going to store first in like kind of a notepad. Then we will move this data into Excel. Then we will try to move this data into database engine. So what we learned here is like whenever a new student comes to a new coaching, like this is the training institute that we are running right now. So in this particular training, these are the students who are going to join. They have not yet joined, assuming that they are just here for inquiry. So what we did is like we added their name in the sheet, in the notepad or maybe into Excel. Then we have course table. Here will we have course name. So we can copy the course names from here, like Microsoft SQL Server, performance tuning, SSIS, AI, Python. So I'll write down the course names here. MS SQL, performance tuning, AI, Python. So this is the basic kind of data we have. So are you all with me? Like, are you able to understand what I'm trying to explain here? For this coaching or a training institute, we have two types of data right now. Some students will come to the coaching and we will enter their name in the database or maybe in a notepad or maybe into Excel, just to ensure like we want to know how many students are coming to our institute, how many students are getting enrolled, how many students are not getting enrolled. So we are trying to maintain that data. Along with that, we have this course name. Right now we have only 4 courses, but maybe in future, like as I said, there will be a module 2 as well. Or maybe in AI, instead of writing AI, what I can do in AI, I can write different tools. Chat GPT, Microsoft Copilot. So I also said like I'll help you learn blogs, blog writing, creating your first website. So these are the number of courses we have right now. So what we did is we just created the list of students along with we created the list of courses. Now, third step will be whoever enrolls in our course. So that will be known as enrollment data. So in this enrollment data, what we are going to do is we'll write the student name along with the course name. So assuming that Ashish is one student, the first number student that came to us, he registered for this particular course, Microsoft SQL Server. So what I will do, I will write this MS SQL here. And another person, Pooja, is also there. Pooja will register for the entire package, data science. Like, students can register in these individual courses one by one if they want. And if they want this entire thing, they can register for the main package, that is data science, kind of. Another student comes in, let's say Geetika, and she says, no, I don't like it, so I don't want to register. So her data, we will not enter here. So we will delete this particular record because she does not want to enroll. Her data will not be recorded. Next, Arjita comes in. She says, I want to learn MS SQL also with this performance tuning. So I write this kind of thing, MS SQL and performance tuning. Now next candidate comes in, Monica. So she says, like, I also want to learn MS SQL and I also want to learn Chat GPT. Another student is there, let's say Arvika. So she's coming and she's saying, I want to learn MS SQL only. So in this particular data, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to register only those students who are actually planning to learn. So Ashish registered for MS SQL, Pooja registered for data science, Arjita registered for 2 courses, Monica registered for 2 courses, Arvika registered for 1 course. So this is the basic thing that we are going to do it. So in this particular thing, what we discussed yesterday is, like, this is the general data. Some people will manage data there in this particular format only. So in this particular, Ashish, can you, Ashish or Pooja, you were there in the yesterday session. So can you share, like, what is the problem with this data? Like, as we discussed yesterday, just high level, if you want to share.
Yes, Amit.
Like, what is the problem with it, with this particular data? If you want to share.
Repetitions are there.
Repetitions are there. Like
Like
MS
we
SQL,
are
MS
using,
SQL is coming.
like we are using, my name is again repeated like Ashish. It's in the table, first table, it is already there and we are repeating it again in the last table. We can take the
Correct.
reference as discussed yesterday.
Yeah. So duplicate data is there in this particular thing. So what we are trying to understand, like, since we are learning this, the course name is data science with AI. So first we are trying to understand the data. Once we understand the basic data strategy, then we will move on to our main topic, that the database engine, what it is. So here what Ashish is saying, if you see here, we already registered his name in the student table, Ashish. Again, what we are doing is we are repeating his name. So it says it is a duplicate data in name column. Again, if you say MS SQL, in this particular enrollment table itself, MS SQL is coming 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So we see duplicate data in course name. So what will happen is, like, in terms of memory usage, think about, like, we are going to use only Notepad. We are assuming, like, right now we are a small business, so we will be using only Notepad. So in Notepad also, we can take the count Q, like we can count from here 1, 2, 3. Space will also counted as a space. Storage area 4, 5, 6. So it is taking 6 characters, and 1 characters, let's say, is consuming 2 bytes of data. So this simple MS SQL is taking 12 bytes in the memory. So if we write MS SQL again and again, so it will be not cost effective, because you will need more space on the hard disk, and also when you try to access this data, it will print duplicate data multiple times. So it is, in terms of storage, we will take some extra time while storing, and while fetching the data back, we will also take some extra time. So what we learned yesterday is, instead of this, like, what we do is, in Microsoft Excel, I'll copy this complete information, move it to a next tab. Now think about, instead of Notepad, now what we are doing is, we are running this thing into Microsoft Excel. Assume this particular screen is Microsoft Excel only. So generally what happens is, like, the first name is called as A, another column will be called as B, another column will be called as C. So here we have column A. So student name is in A1, student table is in A1, this is in A2, this blank space in A3, and this Ashish name is into A4. Similarly, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is coming in A14, cell numbers Excel. So instead of this enrollment data, I can replace this Ashish. I can remove Ashish from here and I will give the reference A4. And instead of Microsoft SQL Server, I will remove it and I will give the reference A40. So in terms of SQL, do you think it is going to work? Excel, we have this column references. Is it clear to everyone? Like there might be some students who don't even know Excel. That is also fine. But those who know, can you confirm? Like if you understand what I'm trying to explain here, it's like instead of saving the name Ashish again and again,
Yes.
I'm just putting here the reference of Ashish, A4.
Okay.
A4 refers to Ashish. I think Pooja and Ashish are clear because they attended the yesterday's session. Maybe some other person can, even one person confirms, and I will move forward to the next step.
Yes.
Okay. So this will help us save the storage area. A4 refers to Ashish. So this will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into 2 bytes each, 12 bytes. Here we are storing 12 bytes, but in this particular, we are not storing 12 bytes. Here we are only storing the reference. That means we are only taking 1 byte of storage. So this will help us reduce the storage. So what will happen? This duplicate in name will be fixed. This issue will be fixed. Duplication in course name will also be fixed because we also replace the course name with the reference number of that particular column. Now, this is the second step towards understanding the data. Now, next step, we'll understand in more detail. So in school or in college, whenever you enroll, you might have received one enrollment number or maybe a roll number or maybe a student ID. Similarly, in our case also, we can have student ID. So let's assume that we write our student ID with 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. So what we did here is like, as we have in our data in our school or maybe in college, or maybe if you join any other platform, like if you join Amazon as a customer or maybe Flipkart as a customer or maybe Facebook as a user, they will create your unique ID. So you will write your email address and based on that, they will create a unique ID for this. Like for example, instead of now A4, this A4 was in terms of Excel. Now we are thinking about actual database. So we are going to give Ashish this particular ID 1001. So whenever I see this particular screen, if I ask anybody to see this particular screen and let me know what does 1001 represents. So you will see in this particular screen and find out, okay, where is 1001? It is written here. It refers to Ashish. It will never be duplicate. It can never happen like 1001 is also referring to some other name. If it is assigned to one student, it will always remain assigned to one student only. It is unique to one student only. Similarly, for the course name, we'll have course ID. Now, assuming that we started our student ID with 1001, now the course ID will start from, let's say, 5001, 5002, 5003, 5004, 5005, 5006. So you see, now we are able to identify instead of A14, the reference that we are using in Excel, we can remove it again. If you want to refer to Microsoft SQL, what we can do instead of again and again remembering Microsoft SQL, writing this Microsoft SQL here again and again, we can directly refer to 5001 because it's an integer value. It will require less space. Characters will always require more space. Integer will require less space, and it is also faster. So in this screen, Pooja, can you tell me what does 5004 represents?
Python.
Python. Arjita, Monica,
Yes.
can anyone else confirm like 5004 represents
Yes. Yes.
Python.
Python? Okay. Because we are referring to this unique ID, and anytime one particular ID will refer to any one entity. Like here 5004 is representing to Python. Now, since we understood like this particular ID is referring to one student, this particular ID is referring to one course name. Now we can correct this third table as well, enrollment data, because this is having repetitions. We are using characters here, we are using Excel references here. That also we can correct. So we know that A4 represents Ashish, because in Excel A4 was referring to Ashish. This is the old data. So now what we can do is we can replace this A4. Can anyone tell A4 will be replaced with which value?
1001.
1001. That absolutely correct. Because here Ashish record is now pointing to 1001 instead of A4. Now we are thinking in terms of database, not in terms of Excel. And A14 is earlier pointed to Microsoft SQL. Now we have 5001. So I can easily copy this 5001 and replace here course name. So here we can change the column names as well. Instead of student name, it is student ID. Instead of course name, it is course ID. Pooja will be replaced with 1002. Here we can check what is the ID of Pooja. 1002. We'll replace it. 1002. Data science. Data science we have not added as a course ID. Maybe we can add it 5007. So this data science will be replaced with 5007. Third candidate is Arjita. So we can see if we have 1004 is the ID. So we can replace this with 1004. Are you all with me? If you think like I'm going a little faster, you can let me know.
Yes.
1004 is having course ID Microsoft SQL. We can again find out 5001 is the course for Microsoft SQL. Next we have performance tuning. Performance tuning is 5002. And another candidate is Monica. We can see the ID is 1005. She is also using Microsoft SQL, that is 5001. For ChatGPT, we need to find which course it is. We combined it into AI. So we can create another module here, 5008 ChatGPT. 5008 will be replaced from ChatGPT. Next is Arvika. Arvika's ID is 1006. We can replace here 1006. Now, MS SQL ID is, we all know because it has been used multiple times. So 5001 is the ID. So here, our data is like streamlined in terms of database. We have created student IDs, we have created course IDs, and we have created the enrollment data as well. So now I wanted to see in how many courses Ashish has registered. So this is the student table. First, I will go to the student table. I will try to find out where Ashish is written. What is his student ID? 1001. I will directly go to the enrollment data because I wanted to see in how many courses Ashish has enrolled. So I will see 1001. I will try to find how many times 1001 is coming here. So I see out of these 5 records, 1001 is coming only one time. That means Ashish has registered only for one course, which refers to 5001. So here I can write it down just for learning. This is the value for Ashish. And this is the value for course name. So this way it is very easy to identify. We are not storing this data multiple times. We are just storing the ID, which is very fast. We are not storing these characters again and again because it is already pointed here. Reference is already stored here, Ashish. And his course ID is already stored here. So now you can ask question like, this is the right way, then why we discuss this particular way? First, what we did is we created Ashish names here. We added the Ashish name here again in the enrollment data, and we find out like this is the duplicate data. So the reason behind explaining this thing is because we are learning data science. We are not only learning database. Database anybody can teach you. or maybe you can find some YouTube videos also wherein you can learn database, but you will not be able to become a database developer, because those trainers, they will teach you theoretical knowledge only. But what we are focusing here is the actual real world scenario. What will happen in the market? What will you get in the real world scenario? So once you complete this 1 year journey with us, you will be in a position that you can show that from last 5 years, last 10 years, you are working in this particular industry. So that is why we are trying to understand. So this data problem that we discussed here, that does not mean that this data is wrong. Some people will still in 2025 also, even some experienced developers work in this fashion only. So let's say you got a job in one company and they gave you this particular data. Then you cannot tell them that, okay, you maybe whatever your manager or whatever your tech lead is, you cannot tell them like this is a bad data. This is a bad data or this is a correct data. They hired you as a data scientist, they hired you as a database developer. Now it's your responsibility to make this database design proper. So what you have learned here is, in this particular thing, you learned like this is some duplicate data. So what you can do is you can tell them, okay, I see some issues with this particular data. I'll try to analyze this. I will redesign this database. So the next step in redesigning is what we did is we gave the reference number. For cells, we replaced the student name because it was causing duplicates. So that's one way to fix our database design. But this is still not the best way. This is the good way to fix it. Third way is another way where what we did is we created the database reference ID for each student, reference ID for each course, and we use that reference in each enrollment record. So think about that. How many products generally, if you see my online Facebook account, I used to post regularly. Along with that, I used to like some other people's post. I used to add comments to some other people post, or maybe some videos I like. So tomorrow when I comes in and log into my Facebook account, if I want to see yesterday I liked one post of one of my friend, I will try to go back to that particular post and I will try to see whether that like is still there or not. So it will be just a question, just a random question to everyone. Yesterday I liked one post from another account from one of my friend, and today I wanted to check like if that like is still there. Will it be there in Facebook or not? Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it will
will
be
be.
there.
Yes, it will be there because Facebook is storing that particular data into database management system. We don't even know like which database platform they are using. Either they are using Microsoft SQL Server, or they are using Oracle, or they are using NoSQL, or they are using MySQL. Whatever database they are using, they are storing that particular data. So what will happen? Let's say my account name is Sumit. So what I did, Sumit Katuria logged in Facebook on, yesterday was 8th Feb. Second step, visited Ashish profile, liked one post, added one birthday comment. So in general, this is the long way to store the data. This is also correct. What I write is Sumit Katuria logged in on Facebook on this particular date. Maybe Facebook also logged the time. Let's say I logged in at 9:01 a.m. in the morning, IST time. So you also note down that which time zone I'm coming from. Which profile I visited? I visited Ashish profile. What I did in this profile? I liked one post. What I did next? I added one birthday comment and then I logged out. This is what I did. So each and every activity is logged into database. So think about it. If we log in this way, Ashish, MS SQL Server, and everything in text format, kind of this, it will take lot of space. Instead of that, what SQL will be doing behind the scenes, it will only store the reference. Some user came, his ID is 1001. He logged in into his account, and his friend's account ID is, let's say, 5001. He opened that particular account and he liked it. So SQL will only store these integer values. So instead of storing all these things, it might be as simple as like that. 1001 is my ID. I logged in into one particular account. My friend account ID is, let's say, 5001. For example, for like, we have again an ID. Let's say for like, we have ID called 666. 666 is the like ID. And I also added one comment. And let's say comment ID is 555. We have different table for comment, we have different table for like, and we have different table for users. First user is Sumit. I logged in into, I maybe just opened, visited the Ashish profile. Ashish profile ID is 5001. So think about this data is similar to this data. So as a human being, we can read it very easily. It is very easy for us. But in terms of data science, we will see data in this fashion. Because SQL will take very less space, because in Facebook, you see billions of transactions happening every day. Or maybe you can take an account of your Amazon account. Everybody use Amazon or Flipkart for doing online shopping. So if Amazon starts to log data in this particular way, Sumit logged into in one particular Amazon account, logged in into Amazon on this particular date, and he visited 10 products. Like generally what we do is we compare different products. Out of that 10 products, we buy only one product, and sometimes we buy 10 products, and sometimes we never buy it. We hold it. So Amazon will ensure that each and every activity that you are doing in that server, it is tracked. So it will log everything. So instead of logging in this theoretical manner, it will log in terms of this ID. When you logged in, how many products you liked, how many products you opened, how many products you searched, how many products you purchased, how many times you purchased, how many times you only logged in, but you never purchased. Every activity is tracked. So this is the way we are going to store the data in terms of database, only in terms of ID, ID, ID. I think I'm making sense here and everybody is with me so far.
Yes.
Okay. Now the best part comes is we still have some time. We'll introduce to the software. So we have this Microsoft SQL Server. So we have this SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm using Management Studio 18. So you can write SQL Server, or maybe the shortcut is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. If you write this command, or maybe you can click here, it will open that environment for you. So this is the first screen. Once you have installed it, I'll explain you how to install this, how to work with this. But just for an example, I'm explaining you how to connect with your SQL server. So here our SQL server type is database engine. Server name, because I already installed it with my name only. So here we need to provide the company server name. So right now I am on the local system. I do not have access to any company data here. So it will not show anything here. It will say browse for more. So for example, if any company data is on a different hosting provider, maybe in Amazon, maybe in Google, so we will get those data links here. But right now we are going to connect the local system. So here my password is different type of passwords we can say, right? Either we can go ahead with the Windows authentication, either we can go ahead with SQL Server authentication. I will explain you in detail, but right now the ID that I'm going to use is Windows authentication. That means the ID that I have used to log in into my this laptop is same in SQL Server as well. So I will try to click connect. This is the first screen we will get. Here you will see a list of databases. So you click on this plus icon, you will see there are some databases are there. Like first thing is system databases. By default, when you install Microsoft SQL Server along with Management Studio, you will see there are some by default system databases. One is master, another is model, another is MSDB, another is TempDB. So we are going to cover all these four in detail, but not right now, maybe at some later stage. So think about this particular data only. I'll go back to the student level. What we did is we created the student. We created student ID, we created course, we created enrollment data. So if I ask you suggest some random name for creating this database, name for what we can do, give it this particular name. Can we write data science training? Or maybe we can write another name, AI training. Just like when we create a database, we need to think about a good name. So first we will create a database. Inside that we will create this, like in Excel, you think whenever you open one Excel, blank Excel, there are 3 sheets by default, sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. So can you suggest any name for this database? Data science training is good or AI training data will be good?
Data science training or
Okay.
data science with AI training.
Data science, third name is data science with AI. Keep this name. I'll copy this name. I'll go to this particular screen. This is very simple. Right click on the database, create a new database. Everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
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 Okay, so I'll click on this new database. So once you click on this new database, it is asking you to provide a database name. So the name I already copied from there. So I can write down data science with AI training. So I'll maximize this screen. By default, what will happen is it will going to create 2 different files for our database. We write only one name, database training. So here logically it is dividing our database into 2 different parts. One is the same name, one is having underscore log. So we'll discuss this thing in detail, but high level I will tell you, whatever operations you will do, whatever data you will store, everything will be stored in the primary file group. This is a file group, primary file group. This is going to be asked in interview. But right now, since you do not know the most of the part here, I'll just explain in a way like whatever data we are going to create in this particular database, everything will be stored in this primary file group, which is basically a main file of our database, which is having an extension. Second file is like a log file. Log file is like that if you live in any apartment or maybe if you live in any society, some guards will be there. What they will do, if anybody is coming to your home, he will log an entry. He will ask that person to write an entry. Once that person goes back, he will write the down time. Like X person came into your house at what X time, and he left your house at X particular time. In the similar way, SQL Server maintains the log of your data. Suppose if you have added some data, now you want to change the names. You by mistake, you have given wrong spelling. Now you want to correct it. So in the log file, it will ensure like it is maintaining the old value as well as the new value. So for this, internally SQL maintains 2 different type of files. Just understand these basic things only. We'll discuss in detail. Right now, we are going to create this particular database, data science with AI training. I'll click on OK. So it will try to create that particular database. So see, along with system database, our own personal database is also here. We'll click, just double click or maybe click on this plus icon to expand this. Here, there is an option to see tables. So right now we do not see any user specific table. There are some folders, but there are no tables. So first, what we will do, we'll try to create this particular table, the student. So what we will do is right click on this particular thing, create a new table. So here it is asking for column name. So our column name is student ID. Data type we need to define. So as I said, integer we can use for numeric values. And there is a third option which is asking you to allow null. So think about this particular data. Can we have one more student? Like think of it like I added one more student, new student, but he does not have any ID. Is it possible? Whenever a new student we will be adding into our database, it should or it must have a roll number. If you are a registered student of any institute or any school, they will give you a student ID or maybe a roll number or maybe enrollment number. If you are an Amazon customer, similarly, they will create a customer ID for you. So here it is asking in the database whether this column can be null or not. Null means blank or nothing. So for time being, I want no, it should never be null. We will always provide the student ID. Next column will be student name. Student name can be in character format. So we have different options for character. We can see here there are different data types. We'll understand in detail. But for time being, I'm using this varchar. Student name, if I think that there will be some students which have like big surnames and big names also. So I'm for the time being, I'm assuming that maximum 100 characters will be there in the student name. Again, this will be not null. We cannot allow anything null. So in this table, we only have these two columns. So we created this particular table dynamically using the design things. Now, we only have these two columns. We created these two columns. We just click Control Save, Control S. Now it is asking for the table name. What is our table name here? I know you can see, but still I want to see if you are still with me, not sleeping.
Student.
What is our table? Student. Okay. That's great. Thank you. I will write student here and I will click OK. So if that table is created, still it is not there because this is a graphical interface. It will not get refreshed. We can click here and this is the refresh icon. It will re-expand. Our table will be shown here, student. So to access the data from the student table, maybe we can close this window. We can right click here and see how many tables, how many records are there. Select top 1000 rows. We'll click. Nothing is coming because right now we created the structure only. We do not have any data into it. So next step, what we can do is we can try to enter some data into it. So let's see if there is some dynamic way to enter. Edit top 200 rows. Click on this. Student ID, same we will copy paste. 1001 Ashish. 1001 Ashish. Next one, 1002 Pooja. Tab 1003 Gitika. 1004 Arjita. 1005 Monica. 1006 Arvika. Now we have only 6 students. Again, press Ctrl S. It will get saved. Now again, right click on this thing. If we did everything right, there is a possibility. We are doing practical everything. I'm not sharing anything already created. So there is always a chance we can do some mistake. So if there is some mistake, it will not work. If there is no mistake, it will give you the result. So now you can see we just clicked on this. We asked SQL Server to show us the student data. Now we can see this data. See how simple it is. Are you able to see these records?
Yes.
So anything difficult you found like in this? So far we covered like maybe around 45 minutes of session. Do you
No,
think
no.
it is easy?
Yeah, it is easy.
Anyone else can say?
Yes. It's easy.
Easy. Now what we can do is I'll show my screen again. I'll go this, I'll select everything here. So what I want you to tell me if I want to do the same thing again for the course table. First we created the student table. Now I want to create the course table. Where should I click and what should I do?
Go to tables,
Tables. Okay.
right click,
Right click.
new
New
table.
table. Very good. Now we
Yeah.
can go back.
Course
First
ID and
course ID.
yeah.
And this will be of int type. It will not have null values or blank values. Again, next column is course name. This will be varchar.
Very good. Yeah.
Course name is like 50 is fine. Course name is 50 fine. It can never be null. I'll also remove the null check. I'll click
Control
on Control S for saving, or maybe I can try to go here and see if there is an option for save table. This also we can do. Control S. We'll write down course.
Course.
Okay. So now it is not reflecting here. We'll click on tables. We'll just click on this refresh thing. Now course is also there. Right click on this thing. Select top 100 rows or top 1000 rows. Nothing is there because we just created the structure, but we have not added any course. Now I want to add course. How can I add it? Like I wanted
Right,
to add these values, these 5001 and all these values I wanted to add.
right click
Right
On
on
click,
course table.
edit top 200 rows.
edit top 200 rows. Okay. So here what I can do, I can type my values. Let me try to see if I can copy paste here. I'm not sure if it is going to work or not. No, it's not working. Maybe individually I can copy. Now here we will do some mistake. This is correct. Now what I'll do is another course for performance tuning. I'm not going to create the ID. I'm just directly doing performance tuning. I don't want to add any ID. Just I will add here performance tuning. We'll click on enter. Now it says no row was updated. The data in row 2 was not committed. It is giving some error. Cannot insert the value null in column course ID. Insert fails. So why it is happening? Because we learned here, we cannot have one student without a student ID. Similarly, we cannot have one course without a course ID. We need to define some course ID always. We need to define some student ID always,
Yes.
because this ID will identify this record. Similarly, for performance tuning, we need to provide some ID. So I manually did this mistake just to help you understand, like if you make some mistake, it will give you error. So what error it is showing? Cannot insert the value null into column course ID. So we know that by mistake, we missed to add the course ID. Now we know that SQL server is smart enough. He's telling us like, okay, you need to enter this course ID, else it is not going to save. So it is saying insert is failed, insert fails. Correct the errors and retry or press escape to cancel the changes. If I don't want to add performance tuning, I can click OK or maybe escape, or maybe if I wanted to add, I'll click OK, and this will allow me to add the ID. So I will try the ID here, 5002. Now the error is gone. So right now we are adding only 2 courses. I'll click on this close button, or maybe not. Right click again on this course section. Select top 1000 rows. So it is giving us 2 records because we only added these 2 courses. So SQL is one of the simplest language when you compare with different languages like Python, C#, C language, C++, and there are n number of languages. Out of all those languages, if you are taking a good training from a good developer or maybe from a good teacher, you will understand and you will find out that SQL is one of the easiest language to learn because it is English-like language. So what I will do, I will open a blank window, pressing Control N. This is a blank query window. So if I want to say, hey Monica, try to find out how many students we have in our system. So what I am saying is, how many students we have in our system. I don't care whether they purchased any course or not, but just I wanted to see how many students database we have. So what we can do is we need to select the data from here. So in Excel or in Notepad, what we can do is we can click select, kind of this. We can select. We'll not select the last one because it does not have a student ID. So we can count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, what we can do is write select student name from where you want to find out, because there are 2 tables. One is student, one is course. From student. So it is giving me, and I can click on this execute query, or maybe I can press F5. So I'll write it down. I'll click on this one. It will give me the list. So it's a small list. So like think about this. We are writing only in English. No brackets, no comma, no curly brackets, no fancy code, just simple plain English we are writing, and it is giving us that result. So the best way to get this, writing a simple statement, select what I wanted to find out. I wanted to find out the names of the student. But if I revisit this particular question, the task that I've given to one student, how many students we have in our system? So here we can see the column numbers are automatically coming. So we can directly say 6. Or else there is a simple thing, like in mathematics, we have count. So we can write select count. What do you want to count? Student name. From where? Student. So I can select this particular line only. I'll click on execute. It will give me count 6. So to make it more better, I can select this statement, paste it again. Here I can give it some alias or column name as student. I will select this particular line.
Sumit, I have a question here. Is it a case sensitive? I mean,
No,
have to
it's not. It's not case sensitive, but generally we practice like whatever keywords we are using, we write in capital case. But some developers will write like that. Like if I simply write select student name from, it will still work.
Okay, fine.
It is not case sensitive, but to make it easier, to make it more readable, we should write in this particular case, first letter should be capital. And if we are using by default the keywords which are created by SQL Server, we type it in capital only, so that we understand like this is basically provided by Microsoft SQL, not the manual one.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So in this line, what I did is I added this count of student name. I don't want the names, because the task that I gave to one of my student is find out how many students we have in our system. I don't care the names. I just want the count. Think in terms of about management. So it is giving me student count. So what I can tell my marketing manager, or maybe the sales manager, or maybe the person who is advertising all these things, I can say, hey, we have been running into this particular industry from last 1 year and we still have only 6 students. There we need to improve. I don't care how many names we have. If the candidate is from Chennai, if the candidate is from Bangalore, if it's from Gwalior or maybe some other place, I don't care. What I care about is the number, because in business we are talking about numbers. We are learning this particular course because we want to play with data, learn how to convert data into meaningful information. So this is the meaningful information for the manager. He wants to know 6 students, or maybe someday he will say, okay, we started our courses last year in 2024. In 2024, 6 students enrolled. Now we are into 2025. How many new students enrolled after 2004 to 2005, in between that duration? So we should know how to write a query in English kind of a language that will give us a result wherein we can deduct, like let's say in 2024, 100 students got enrolled. In 2025, let's say 5 students left. They say we have paid the fees, but we don't like the course, or maybe they are rich enough, they don't want to continue. They want to change their field. Now they don't want to learn this skill server. They are thinking to start their own business. So 5 students left. In 2025, 360 more students joined. So I want to tell my manager who is asking for this status, how many students we have in our system. So what I can do is I can write 100 minus 5 plus 360. Whatever the total comes up, it will be coming up. So I think if we can write like select. So if SQL Server is smart enough, it will calculate. So we can directly give, okay, sir, we have 455 students as on date. So our manager will now ask, how many students we had in 2024? We know 100. So we can easily tell them, sir, we had around 100 students last year, because initially we started, so our student base is less. But right now we have done some good courses and our advertisement is also running, and our students are also spreading the word of mouth. They're telling other students to enroll in the same course because they find this course useful. Our teachers are also very good. Our marketing is also functioning very good. So he's saying now the total has increased to 455. So what he will say, okay, how many new students are there? So what we can do is write select 455 minus, earlier there were 100. So we can easily tell 355 new enrollments we did. So they will ask you to calculate the percentage. Okay, no, I don't want this 355. I want the year-on-year growth. So there is a pattern called YOY. If you work in share market or if you work in banking, if you work in any other financial industry, there will be a keyword called YOY, year-on-year growth. So you need to find out like what percentage we made growth. So if the year-on-year growth is sufficient enough, what the manager will do, he will give some bonus to each and every employee. But if the year growth is low, he will increase your targets. Maybe he will ask you to do work overtime. So the database that we are preparing is now the data science work is to get into depth of your data and find out meaningful information so that your management can utilize that particular information in a very small way. Management will never go and see like if Ashish is registering into 10 courses or not. They are not interested in that. They're interested in that. Last year we made a sales of 1 million. In this particular year, whether we are still on 1 million, whether we are less than 1 million, or we have crossed the mark of 5 million. They are more interested into the meaningful information. If you say our teachers are very good, our marketing agency is very good. Last year we made 1 lakh or 1 million sales, but this year we are not able to achieve even 1 million. It doesn't matter how good your teacher is, how good your marketing team is, we are in loss. So management will try to change maybe your manager will be changed, maybe developer will be changed, maybe the teacher will be changed, or maybe they will provide some training to the existing employees based on the insights they are getting from the data. So think about Amazon. We see like a lot of people buy iPhone, but in specific region, lot of people only buy Android phones. In specific region, people only buy keypad phone. Like let's say for people in the older generation, they don't want to use this touch screen because they are not much familiar with the technology. So still keypad phones are still running. So management wants to know what is the target age of the audience who is buying iPhone. What is the target age of the audience who is buying normal Android phones? What is the audience who is buying keypad phones? So based on that, they can plan the production for next year. So let's say in last 2024 year, 2 billion iPhones got sold. In comparison to iPhone, Android phone sales was 10 billion. So it means only 20% is iPhone, rest 80% market share is taken care by Android. So there are multiple reasons for that. iPhone is expensive. Everybody cannot
afford it.
afford it. So they will see on this particular data. So while you learn data science, you will learn each and every technique to understand your data, how to provide meaningful information to your management. If you are able to provide that meaningful information, then you are good. If you are not able to provide meaningful information to the management, then how many good queries you can write, how many good database you create. Let's say instead of student, I create a student underscore data. Doesn't matter. Student is also fine. Student underscore data is also fine. You will say I am coming from a good convent school. My spellings are always correct. Some other person will come, he'll write student underscore DT. So what you can go to the management and say, hey, I am Pooja, I am writing student underscore data. Some other new employee is coming, he's writing student underscore DT. So look, this DT, I am not able to understand what this DT means. That guy should write a proper name. Doesn't matter what you write. You should be good at presenting your data. See, I'll write again student, because the table name is student. Now we have this student name. I'll run this query again, this first query. Here it says student name. Now our management says, don't call these people as students. They're not students, they're our clients. But you have created a student name. So what we can do is we can give them an alias as client name, semicolon, CLIENT. So if I run this query again, I'll run this 2 times, first one and the second one. Same data. First we are calling them student, another time we are calling them as client. Doesn't matter what name is in the header. What matters is how many numbers. Management is always focused on numbers. So if you are good with mathematics, if you are good with numbers, then you will be able to grow in this industry. Maybe you can make millions in your careers with utilizing all these tools. So we'll learn everything in practical, like the way we did today. So hope you are all clear with this. If you are having any questions, you can ask me. Silence means no questions, or silence means
Yes, everything is clear.
everything is clear.
Yeah.
Okay. What about else?
Clear.
Yeah. Still some more students are there. Is it like we should cover less in one class? The duration of class is okay? Or we should increase the duration, or we should decrease the duration? However, say based on feedback, maybe you can WhatsApp me. You all have my contact number. So I'm stopping the recording now. Thanks for being there. Thanks for bearing with me for this quite a long, maybe more than 1 hour session. So I hope everybody got some insightful information based on what we are going to learn in this particular course. Everything will be covered in terms of theoretical as well as practical. First, I will explain things in practical. Then, once you try to understand what are the things we are going to work upon, then behind the scenes, what is happening, why we learned this, why we learned the wrong way, then why we corrected it. Everything I will explain in detail, so that by the end of 1 year, you will present yourself as a 5 year experience or maybe a 10 year experience person. Hope you are with me.
Yes, Sumit.
Okay. What about else, other students? Everybody clear?
Yes, time duration is pretty much enough, I think.
Okay. So I'm stopping the recording now.